Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me for a card making video today. So today we're going to use this lovely stamp set called Mixed Florals. So this was an online exclusive that's now on last chance. It is reduced as well. So really great set, very pretty. Make some really pretty cards with this set. And I've really liked using it. So there's a couple more examples on the video, so if you search for Mixed Florals you should find it in there. This set's down to about £16. I think the dies are already sold out, unfortunately, but there is a promotion on at the moment, so if you spend in the shop with a qualifying order, you will get some little coupons to spend in February, so it's worth having a look at that promotion too, if there's anything that you want. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to do something really simple with this today, just to showcase the stamp set. We're just going to colour it in. We're going to use some stamping blends. I've done some stamping blends for a bit, and it's more or less a one layer card, just a little bit of a dimension on the sentiment there. And I've used these beautiful everyday arches to just add a little bit of interest onto there, even though it's just a single layer. Okay, colours I've used, lots of blending today. So for that reason I'm using basic white cardstock. You'll get a better result with basic white rather than white willow. So we've used Darling Duckling and Lemon Lolly to create the depth on the tulips, and I've got Mossy Meadow and Old Olive running through the foliage, Blackberry Bliss in the little flowers as well. Okay, so really cute, really love it. So we're going to obviously recreate this but use some different colours this time. Okay, so I've already stamped it in Memento. Memento's water based, so it won't bleed with the alcohol. Okay, and I have got I've got Highland Heather. So this is the I'm just trying them out. That's the light one, so let's try the dark one. So what you find is that over time, depending on how much you've used your markers, and then we've got fresh freesia to come with that as well, over time and how you use your markers, you might find that your dark becomes a lighter than your light marker, so it's worth just using some scrap paper just to see how the colours are going to play together. So the fresh freesias, I would say I'm going to use this marker ahead of that one. Okay, and my contrast colour is going to be Summer Splash to go into these little flowers here. So I might zoom in a little. Let's zoom in a little on here. There we go. Right, for these little tiny flowers, what I'm going to do is put a little dot of colour where the artist has indicated. Okay, looks like it's barely there, which it is. Okay, but we're going to use the colour lifter. Do they call it the colour lifter? Yeah, colour lifter. And I'm going to take that and go out from the middle. Oh, I've still got some Blackberry Bliss on it. So I'm going to go over that, and once it starts to dry and spread, that will become less intense and diffuse that a little bit. You will need to give it some time to do that though. It won't happen straight away. So at the moment you probably can't see much of a difference, but it will. It will just soften that out. And you can go over it as well. If you feel like it needs a bit more persuasion, do so. So these top ones are already starting to sort of bleed out, if you like, into that colourless marker, and just have that more diffuse sort of look to them. Okay. Right, let's do our in fact, do you know what, I've selected those, but we're going to do the foliage first, and we're going to use a combination of Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist. So we're going to go nice and bright with some of these. So again, we'll try it out, dark and light Granny Apple, there we go, and then we want Lemon Lime, dark, and light, yeah, okay, great. So let's put Lemon Lime up there for a minute. Let's do our Granny Apple first then. We're going to use the dark marker, okay, and I'm going to do these big broad leaves first and leave the stems for a minute. So where there's overlap, or where the things are bent over and under each other, I'm going to pop in some dark colour. So this bit is shaded by this bent over bit, so I'm going to put a bit in there. Same on this side. Not too much, just a little bit. I'm going to pop it across the base of these 3 leaves here. And then you sort of got to, the line art can get a little confusing with all these lines coming out from where these stems are. That's a stem. But to be honest, if you, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just stick to your guns and just colour where you think you need to. So this one's going to be darker behind here. We've got this one. So I'm going to sort of go along the bottom, not being super careful, but just sort of popping in that colour there. Okay, and it all looks like a bit of a mess until you start pulling colours in for your shading. So I'm going to flick in some of the lighter Granny Apple Green now, going over what I've already put in, but then extending further up the leaf. And I'm going to come down on this bit and meet in the middle. So with this one, I'm not going to put any Lemon Lime on this one because they're all in the background, they're going to be darker. Okay. Going over those bits that you've already done. So once you sort of re-wet the ink, it'll start to diffuse and blend together. Again, this one's set back, so let's just do that in the dark colour. Did I do this bit? I don't think I did. This one's set back, so we'll just do the Granny Apple on that. As is this one. So just bringing all that colouring through, and you might see our line to start off with, but it will fade out. And like I say, you can go over it again if necessary. This is why the basic white's better, and if you've got it thick basic white would work the best, but regular basic white I think is fine. But you wouldn't be able to apply this much ink and not have bleeding through outside the lines if you were using the White Willow. Okay, I think we're done with that. And now I'm going to pop in a little bit of the lime. Okay, so I'll pop this in here, so bringing that down and into the granny apple. Doesn't look like they're going to go right, and I get it, but you'd be surprised how once you've layered those colours that they all sort of start to play nice. It's crazy. And we're going to drop a bit of the darker colour in here. Might not need a light one. I think this is going to be cool, just 3 colours. Okay, I think I got it all. Yeah, so I'm not going to put any more of the light marker in, but what I am going to do is going to use the dark marker to bring the stems out from the background. That isn't the dark marker, that's the dark marker. So we're going to do these nice solid dark colour, and then you'll get that contrast. You can go over that as well, makes it a little darker again. Oops, slightly out the lines there, no matter. There we go, that's our foliage, and hopefully you saw enough of that detail. That zooming in. Okay, right, so we're going to apply similar logic to the blooms. So we're going to start with our dark Highland Heather and drop in some of this into those like shadowy. Oh gosh, look at that! I've missed a whole entire leaf. Were you all shouting at the screen? Don't need that one. I need. Let's use the light granny apple. And the dark lime. There we go. Right, same logic to the flowers. Okay, so we've got this petal that's sort of hiding in the back there, so that's going to be nice and dark, and then we've got a shadow that's going to fall onto this petal here. And we'll just pop in a little bit where the artist has suggested, and again this one's all hidden at the back, this one's overlapping that one. This petal on the inside is going to be quite dark, and then we'll just pop in some extra colour at the base of those petals for that one. And then sort of similar thing with this, we'll pop in some on the base. This is going to be dark where it's hidden, as is that one. Okay. Right, so this is light Highland Heather. So this petal, we'll just do the Highland Heather on, because it's hidden at the back. And then we'll put a little bit of this in there. We might be able to sneak in a little bit of the fresh freesia on there, but maybe not. Blend out this a little bit, bring in some of that. This one's hidden. Blend out that, blend out this. Just going over it and plus some, right? Don't overthink the terminology. And then this one, not really much room for additional colours on those little tiny bits, but sometimes it only takes a little bit to really make a difference. Okay, right, now we'll come in with the fresh freesia. Same thing, we're going to go over what we've done, and these sort of flicky motions kind of help avoid getting harsh lines on things. It sort of meshes the colours together like that. There we go. And go over this bit, drop in a little bit of that colour, and again same. Over here, and then we'll use that light marker. Well, actually it's the lightest, but it's actually the dark. Right, so in a minute I'm going to show you this petal as really that dark line that we originally put in has completely diffused out now. So I go quiet when I'm colouring because I'm just in the zone. It's so cool how these colours just start to just come together, really. And sometimes you think, gosh, they won't ever go. But you see how we're putting that line there, that's now all blended out and softened. The little dots there, see how those are all nice and softened now? Yeah, really, really cool. And if you wanted to, you could add some Wink of Stella over the top of that as well, and really sort of make those sparkle as well. Okay, so there we go. You don't have to use all of those markers, but when you use several markers together, you really will get this nice blended look. Okay. Right, let's take out that paper and we'll cut this out with one of our everyday arches. This happens to be not the largest, the next one down. And here's your opportunity to sort of eyeball how far you want this. So because in theory you could have it sit high and leave some space and cut off some of this at the bottom. I wanted it, this image, to fill as much of it as possible. So I'm taking it as low as it will go without chopping off that little bloom at the top. And I'm just going to secure that in 2 points at the top and at the bottom here, so we can roll that through the die cut machine. Okay, so this is going to give us our nice, our nice layering that we've got going on. I do love these arches. I think they really give you a really nice shape to work with. Got marker pens everywhere. Move those out of the way. Oops, stuck to the plate. So that's our layer that we're going to add to our card. And we're just using thick basic white as our card base, so it's nice and clean and bright, really, really nice. And then we want our sentiment across the bottom. So for that we're using Simply Said. It's a great staple for some sentiments. We've already got it on one of my favourite blocks. This is the H block. I love it for sentiments. You can hold it and see exactly where you're going. Okay, and we're just going to use Memento ink and just ink that up. And you just want to check that you haven't got any ink bubbles inside the little openings of your letters. You get ink bubbles in there, but it kind of you'll end up with it looking like it's all filled in, which doesn't always look attractive. So if you get a little bubble, just either use a pokey tool or just blow on it gently and pop that bubble before you stamp it. Oops. There we go, beautiful. This is 3/8 of an inch wide, but to fit the letters on. It is not a set length just yet. I'm just going to eyeball it and trim that down with some scissors. So I'm going to go about there and about there. There's about 1/8 of an inch from the end of the letters there. So I have not measured that. It happens to be approximately 2 3/4 inches if you want a measurement, but as I say, I didn't intend to measure that. So that's going to go on, and we're going to use our contrast colour, which is the Summer Splash, to make a little banner. So I've just got a scrap of cardstock here, and I've already die cut it once but left it attached here because I want it longer than it's designed to be. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just lay that over the top and have a look at how long I want this. So about there. Again, all eyeballs, and you know, life's too short to measure everything. Do a job with lots of accuracy to it, and sometimes it's nice to just not have to think about it. So now I'm going to cut from this end to here, but not all the way. So I'm not going to cut off this end. If you wanted to make it shorter, you could do a similar thing and just sort of lop off a bit, but I'm just going to cut to there, and it will meet in the middle and make me a longer banner. I hope that made sense. Okay, and I've picked this colour because it's the colour we've used as the contrast on the petals. Let me just check that that hasn't moved. As I put the plate on, I think that might have moved. So let's be sensible, shall we, and put some tape on this. You'll feel it lock into place. It was something like there, wasn't it? I'm not going to worry too much about it. And you'll feel it. It sort of goes back in. Okay, so just going to pop some tape on that just to make sure it doesn't move. So like I say, I'm rolling that through, but not all the way to the end. Roll it back before you get there. Okay, yep, right, that's brilliant. Okay, so now I've got this longer banner. So, you know, you don't have to accept the size of that die. It doesn't work with everything, but you can have a think about how you can use your dies to either make them smaller or longer, or whatever it is. I've shared some videos recently using the beautiful Gallery Blooms frames, and you know, cutting into that, and not necessarily with the die, but you know, cutting it down afterwards and creating something completely different to suit your project. I'm actually using double-sided tape on that because it's so skinny. Tape runner's gonna go off the edge of that, so let's just use a bit of double-sided, and we'll eyeball this into the centre of here. And I will get a measurement for those who want the measurement. Oh no, let's move that over. So I probably could have left that a bit longer, but that's fine. A bit more of the colours showing through. You do you. So that's going to make that really, really pop. Okay, so that ended up being about 3 1/4, a bit longer maybe. Okay, now I'm going to pop this onto some dimensionals, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the edge strips on here. Where are my gluey scissors? There they are. So we can fit all of that on there. So, isn't that cute? So it's ready to go, and we can just start putting things together now. You see how this has come through the back? It's doing its job, allowing those inks to blend together. Where has my tape runner gone? There it is. So I'll pop some along the bottom. these straight edge sides, and then a bit along the top there. So it's got straight sides, so you want to get that left and right even. The up and down is a bit more up to you. I like to get it roughly even personally, so looking to get that so it looks like it's on straight. That looks about right, straight as I'm going to get it anyway. And then we can pop our sentiment on across this bottom. Oh, that fits very snugly inside those stitched lines. Isn't that lovely? And my new favourite embellishments. Right, so these are cute. I like these. Pearls of Beauty, these are called. So these are they're an online exclusive. Really nice bright white, super. I think these are like a calypso coral kind of colour, and then we've got like a crumb cake colour. So I love white ones because you can colour those with alcohol based markers. That'd be cool. But we're just leaving them bright white today. Pokey tool. Oh my goodness me. Is this a sign I need to tidy my desk? Possibly. Oh dear. The carnage that you cannot see. Right. So as always, we're just going to do our little trio of embellies. We've got the two sizes, which makes it nice and easy to get that nice visual that we've got going on. So it all brings it all together, and that makes it that focal point to graphic design thing. There's the rule of thirds, there's triangles, there's all sorts of things that will help you think about what the layout of your cards wants to be. Okay, so I think that looks super. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I love this one too. It's a more muted colours, but equally very, very pretty. I really like this set. And you've got that other image in there as well. So, you know, all that colouring technique could be applied to that. And it's a large stamp. It's large, okay? So, and then you've got this gorgeous foliage as well. So that in itself, if you've got the dies with it, you could really make like a wreath and things with it. So very versatile and reduced at the moment. Do look out for it. Hop along to the online store. All the links will be in the description. You can get an app and you can create a customer account, and then, you know, just peruse as you need to. And don't forget, we've also got products of the month now. We're not doing celebration anymore, which some of you may be familiar with. So we had the first one in December, which was a great blue toned DSP. This time round, the product of the month is a sentiments stamp set. Mine is on its way to me and will be arriving very shortly, if it hasn't already by the time this video goes out to you guys. It's a really nice little stamp set. So and they are available for just £5 with a qualifying order. So look out for that too. All right. Right. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me again today and watching this process. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.